I'm here with one of the leaders of the National Water Resources Committee in Myanmar, a leader in helping the Salween Basin undertake some of the same planning and assessment that has been done in the Irrawaddy. And I'm hoping you can share the story and a little bit more about the Salween Basin.
Actually, I'm not a leader, but I'm a follower, because the leaders are the people living there, facing a lot of problems in Salween, and try to raise the soft voice. I'm just a loudspeaker, trying to address their concerns. For example, Salween, we have a lot of different stakeholders, and also very rare ethnic minorities. So while we are thinking about the Irrawaddy dolphin or many rare endangered species, I'm concerning about the rarest endangered species as a human being, and the loss of our ethnic groups and their lives, living thing, is the loss of the whole world. So that's the reason I'm focusing on Salween. And another thing is, it belongs to 3 countries. China has a larger part of Salween and its river basin, and also we share more than 100 miles with the Thai. So this is the international river, this is the transboundary river, and also this river is still running wild.
The whole river?
The whole river.
Really?
Yes, really.
Oh.
There are no human maneuvering, but there were plans. So like in China also there are many, and we also have some plans that our ethnic groups are worried about the outcome.
Yes.
Though we can get the advantage of having income and also electricity and power from water, hydropower projects, but we must be seriously thinking about the impact. And we all are responsible not to destroy the environment. So we must also have dialogue with the people there. This is what I'm in for that.
So it's a river basin that has a lot of potential, both for development but also for protection.
Yes.
So
yes.
Undertaking this sort of a process allows for the basin to move forward into the future in a much more coordinated way, taking into account the transboundary considerations, which are always complex, in order to best serve the communities
of course.
that are there. How has the SOBA process, the SOBA assessment, been able to provide some support or insight into the Salween Basin and the work that you're doing?
Because we joined that SOBA process last month, and we learned a lot, especially on the healthy rivers, and also on the international dialogue on that issue. One thing that get right into my heart is about the exercise on the data and quality of the river governance, because an environment, ecosystem, and the governance. So when I joined the exercise, I found that the governance is the area which is weakest. So if we can look into that with that healthy rivers approach, and also the documents that now we are having with the SOBA process, could be merged with the research results work in Salween River, because the community manage healthy rivers approach. In Oxfam presentation also could be replicated. Now SOBA has 6 communities on their studies. So we would like to facilitate that to the community who are responsible for nurturing or protecting the river, but they must have the right share of development, any kind of development. If they are neglected for the development process, then we cannot proceed. So first is to let the Saloon River run freely, healthily, and second thing is to look for the water-based economy that we addressed this morning.
Yes.
So water-based economy is not only hydropower, is not only agriculture. This belongs to many other areas like service sector. So I would like to see this Saloon as a global heritage, protected, and like the Chinese counterpart, they are also trying their best to keep that as a naturally running river for the time being, and their plan to build dams are suspended now.
Excellent.
Yeah. So we can join together also with the Thai on, I'm dreaming, but might be the slowest, one belt, one road. This might be another road which would take nature as it is and use the natural approaches
Yes.
for the global community.
I have two questions.
Yes, please.
The
Yes.
first is about fisheries.
Mhm,
I'm wondering if in your consultation with the communities,
Mhm.
if they really highlighted and recognized the value of the fisheries,
Mhm.
because in a river that doesn't have any hydropower yet
Mhm.
developed,
Mhm.
fisheries have tremendous potential for
Yeah.
supporting livelihoods.
Mhm.
Is that the case?
We have started having problem with the fisheries. One of the study from Molamyang University, which is belong to the lowest Mon state,
Yes.
and there are a lot of depletion in the population of hilsa. It's one of the herrings,
Okay.
the expensive, fish. And also they found some of the seawater intrusion
Yeah.
upstream to the Saloon River, which is navigable only on the lower, near the mouth. So this is already happening. And for the fishes in the Cayenne state, now they are forming the Saloon Peace Park, around the water sources and the villages. They are now protecting and also the chances to get, more fish, and also protecting and getting more fish. So these are the initiatives that have started in the community.
And the other question is about the Healthy Rivers approach.
Yeah.
Because I think that this approach has tremendous potential for Myanmar for
Yeah,
sure, but also
yeah.
for the other countries around.
Mhm.
But it's not being spoken about as much as it should.
Sure.
And I'm hoping you can, in your own words, share some of the basic principles of the Healthy River approach and where you're starting to see this emerge in the Salween Basin.
Because most of the time the people are focusing on the river mouths and the problem happening in the delta,
Yes.
and forget about the catchment areas, watershed areas. So healthy rivers now, I get back from Czech, in Czech Republic, as they belong to the beginning of all the big rivers in Europe, they are taking responsibility not to ruin the downstream. So this is quite a big and serious job, to protect the river all along the way. But protecting not only means the ecosystem, but also the environment. And last time the Norwegians, they presented their studies on the macroinvertebrates. So microinvertebrates, macroinvertebrates, and also living species in the form of unicellular and also, bacteria or virus. At the same time, the natural habitat of the river should be protected, reserved, and preserved also. These days, we ruin the rivers, starting from the small rivers, by 3 human activities. One is deforestation of the watershed area, and the second is reckless mining that destroys not only the mountains or the forests, but there are a lot of activities scraping out the riverbeds, small riverbeds, to get coal. So it is not only, filling with silt, but also taking out the million years of collection naturally in the seabed. So this is second activity. The third activity is on the reckless use of pesticides, herbicides, and fertilizers, because you know that our 91% of the water is used for agricultural purpose. That means that 91%
Goes back to the river.
As the polluted water.
Yes, very
And
polluted.
we cannot afford, to treat it, because industrial water has its own, system and law to treat it. But we don't have any law preventing the pollution of water from the agriculture sites. And this is happening all over the country.
Yes.
So these three things are having great impact in destroying our rivers. So we can correct it.
With the new water legislation that's coming, is there any protections allowed through the regulations? I'm imagining that enforcement is going to be quite difficult, but at least having a legal framework in place that does provide protections for those three issues could be a critical first step.
Of course.
And that will, I'm sure, provide some assistance to mitigating those impacts.
Yeah. I have drafted the water law last 3 years ago, and I'm waiting for, future, discussions and endorsements. And I put purposely on the issue of pollution and how to prevent pollution. At the same time, role and responsibilities of the citizens, because they can play a large role who are staying in the river basin like SOBA, because SOBA is also promoting and communicating for the awareness and also prevention. So now we are a little bit earlier for other rivers like Salween and Setong also. So these are the things that we need to learn and implement together with the people. But legal backup should be for the people. At the same time, I'm expecting privatization and corporatization of water sources, because water cannot be manipulated only by the government. But without the legal backup, the private-public partnership would not be happening.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share before we conclude the interview?
One special thing for the river's health.
Yes.
We are very, very weak in the test in laboratory, like water quality test. Even BOD and COD or total, TSS. We had to ask for the Australian support, and we arranged for the capacity building of the operators level. So we need capacity building for the operational level of governance. It includes the dignity and the capacity of the operators. At the same time, the equipments they are using must be reliable. So for that, we need international support. We cannot invest that amount.
Yeah, it's a large undertaking, and you want to make sure that the data is credible and usable for the purposes.
Of course.
I can see that. If somebody is interested in learning more about the Salween Basin and the work that you're doing, is there a resource that you can share for people who can track the progress?
Anytime. Yes. And also I'm thinking about how to prepare the contribution and investment of the international community coming in, especially like the responsible tourism.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your
You're
time
welcome.
and for sharing this exciting story of the Salween Basin. It's really a pleasure.
Thank you so much.